Hey everyone, this is Alex from Alex's Autism Acceptance Channel. Welcome to the Thursday afternoon upload, wherever you're watching in the world. Hope you're having a good day. Today is a bit of a bombshell, guys. I'm sure a lot of you have actually known this already, but it was news to me, unknown to me up until a couple of days ago. The gist of the story is that Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers of the United States, one of the greatest men to ever live, may have been on the spectrum. Should be a doozy to talk about. Let's get into it. But before we do, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. We are coming up very close on 500 subscribers. So I want to make sure that as many people are seeing my content as possible. So getting those numbers up would mean the world, guys. Alright, let's get into it. So right off the bat, this was something that really interested me. As I was looking up the answer, or as I was looking up the question in the Google search, when I typed in Thomas Jefferson, the search term on the autism spectrum, so was Thomas Jefferson on the autism spectrum, ranked higher than was Thomas Jefferson a good president. So that goes to show a lot right there that there's actually been quite a bit of research into this question. But I digress. This content is from autismadvocacy.fandom.com. I'm going to put their link in the description. I've actually never heard of these people before, this website before. That being said, I think it's a very valuable asset to the community. So, Thomas Jefferson, there is some starting facts about him, but I'm sure most of you already know that. Talks about his accomplishments, like Declaration of Independence, founding the University of Virginia, the Lewis and Clark Expedition, Louisiana Purchase, but I can go on and on with that. You guys probably already know that. What you didn't know was that he may have had autism. Let's get into it. After reading biographies on Thomas Jefferson, Norm Legend noticed similarities to his adult son who was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. After noticing similarities between the two, Legend eventually decided to write a book about it. In the book, Legend argued that he met 5 of the 13 criteria for autism. The minimum for a diagnosis is 4, listed in the DSM-IV diagnostic criteria. Temple Grandin, Tony Atwood, and various historians have agreed with Legend's claim, saying that it has validity. Jefferson was often considered shy and socially awkward by his contemporaries, and was regarded as an eccentric. His mannerisms are said to be very awkward and odd, as with most people, and he was even described as having an unusual sitting position. He also struggled with eye contact, that's a big sign there, which Alexander Hamilton, his rival, once attacked him for, and believed it to be proof that he was a dishonest man. That's messed up. Jefferson was also attacked by his political rivals for apparently being expressionless. Interesting. The article continues on about his characteristics. Jefferson had a very unusual choice of clothes, and his hair was often disheveled. Can't relate right now, but sometimes I can. He was also particularly fond of mockingbirds and owned them as pets. He would even take them to meetings, and legend suggested that he did this in order to calm himself from making social interactions. There you have it, folks. Mockingbirds were the first emotional support animal. Jefferson himself once said that he didn't care much about his clothing, and would prefer to dress for comfort rather than for appearance. Gosh. Oh, I can relate to that. He was also described as singing or humming to himself. I do that all the time. He was known to have speech disabilities, and he stuttered. His voice was described as being weak and high-pitched, and he was unable to talk louder than normal speaking voice. If he tried to yell, his voice would become inarticulate. Interesting. As president, he only gave 2 speeches, both at his 2 inaugurations. It was said that he was inaudible except in the first 3 rows. This is why he strongly preferred writing over speaking, as he was somewhat self-conscious of his voice. It was also suggested that he was dyslexic and had OCD. Both of these conditions are commonly comorbid with autism. because his childhood house burned down in a fire. Because his childhood house burned down in a fire, so it cannot be known if he exhibited any of the early symptoms. But according to family tradition, by the time he was 5, he read all the books in his father's library. Now that's a feat. Jefferson had very specific routines. He would take notes of everything, and eventually left over 40,000 of them by the time of his death. One of the most notable examples of this was his personal library, where he had about 6,500 volumes and books. It's a lot of books right there. He was also terrible with money, and legends suggested that his note-taking habits were why he died in debt. Autistic teenagers and adults tend to have very poor money management skills. I'm about average, fortunately. He also had the need to measure the distance he traveled, and I actually do this too. After I go on runs, every single time I drive my car to see how far I've gone. Jefferson would use an odometer to count his steps when he walked, and he figured out how to calculate how many times a carriage wheel rotated each mile. I guess that would depend on the speed, but great job, Tommy. Another example of his routines was his habit of soaking his feet in icy water every morning. Jefferson believed this prevented him from getting sick, but there is no actual evidence that it prevented sickness. Studies suggest that autism is family-related. According to legend, Jefferson likely got his autism from his mother's side of the family, the Randolphs. Legend also described other Randolph family members with potentially autistic traits. Jefferson also had a sister named Elizabeth, who was said to have intellectual disabilities. Legend suggests that it was possible she was also autistic. His younger brother, Randolph, was also said to have been somewhat mentally deficient and persistently childlike. Very interesting article. Extremely. Alright guys, I think that's going to do it for the video here. I really hope you enjoyed, learned something new. Comment down your thoughts about this. I think this will be a very informational video for more autistics, or recently diagnosed autistic, or parents of recently diagnosed autistics. I think this is a huge level of inspiration to know that the founding father of one of the greatest countries in the world was neurodivergent and specifically had autism. I think that provides definitely a boost to confidence. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. This was certainly a very happy article for me to read. But yeah, anyways, I'll see you on Monday. Peace out.